Hello, everybody. Once again, welcome back to the class of fluid mechanics. I'm Dr. P. N. Range, subject teacher for fluid mechanics from the Department of Chemical Engineering, AISSMS College of Engineering, Pune. So today we will talk about basic equations of fluid flow and flow measurement. And today is the commencement of the topics from this unit number 3 or module number 3. We have already dealt with two more modules earlier. Module number 1, which was related to uh, basic terms of fluid mechanics, then fluid properties, Newton's law of viscosity, then probably we defined various flows and various fluid types, including Newtonian, non-Newtonian, then thixotropic, rheopectic, and other non-Newton fluids. We also took several examples to consolidate our understanding about those modules. Module number 2, it was related to fluid statics, where we talked about pressure laws, that is Pascal's law of pressure distribution and law of hydrostatics, different types of pressures like uh, total pressure, gauge pressure, then vacuums, and absolute pressure, then interconversion of different units of pressure, calculation of pressure using manometers, different manometers, simple pressures, differential pressures, then vacuums. And we also touched upon the mechanical gauges used for very, very low pressures, then for moderate pressures, for high pressure, and for very high pressures. We also saw different devices, modern devices for pressure measurement. The concepts which you learned there, they are going to be useful in this module also in every subsequent module. Okay, so whenever we need, we are going to recall those concepts and use in order to develop the equations of fluid flow and fluid flow measurement equations as well. Okay, so what is in the offing in this module number 3? So we are starting with basic equations, namely the continuity equation, that is law of conservation of mass. Second equation that will be derived, that will be Bernoulli's equation, or the mechanical energy balance equation. Initially, we'll ignore the viscous forces or viscous effects. Once we derive it for inviscid fluids, we can introduce that viscous term in the Bernoulli's equation. And once you understand these two equations, based on that, the development of flow measuring equations using fixed area meters or variable area meters, we are going to develop. Okay, so the meters here you can see venturi meter, orifice meter, nozzle, then petard tube. So venturi meter, orifice meter, nozzle, they are basically fixed area meters where area is fixed and you are passing the fluid. You are measuring the pressure drop across that meter, and that pressure drop is connected to velocity, and velocity is used to measure flow rate by U into area into density. Okay, you can measure mass flow rate, you can measure volumetric flow rate, what we call it as a discharge. Okay. Uh, then we'll be dealing with petard tube. Then we'll see uh, some flow measurement uh, schemes for non-circular conduits, and we will take ample number of numerical examples to apply these equations which are developed in this module. Okay. So to start with basic equations of fluid flow, there are three governing equations which describes physical phenomena or physics of the process or physics of any system which involves fluids, especially gases, vapors, and liquids. So they are conservation of mass, they are conservation of momentum, that is Newton's second law, and conservation of energy. Okay, and all these laws they are applied for this uh, fluid flow situations. Okay, considering it as a continuous medium. Probably you would have heard this name, continuum hypothesis. What does it mean by continuum hypothesis? So as we see fluids, gases, they are invisible. We cannot see the colors or movement of gases. Okay, only in case of few fumes, gaseous fumes, we can see the color. Otherwise, they are colorless mostly. Liquids, we can see because they occupy boundary that is unlike gases. So we can see it is a continuous medium. So, but when we go down to the sub-millimeter scale, which is micrometer or nanometer, even in angstrom, okay. So what we observe is that these fluids, they are made up of several individual molecules. Means it is assemblage of molecules only. Uh, these fluids are made up of. Okay, so if you want to take each and every molecule into consideration, that is infeasible actually. Okay, so it is tiresome because it will be billions and billions of molecules. Okay, so they will be actually constituting one complete liquid or a gas medium. Okay, so this continuum hypothesis is that the fluid is treated as continuous medium provided one condition, that is the distance between two molecules, that is mean free path, is smaller than the smallest dimension of flow channel. Okay, so if that is satisfied, this fluid is treated as continuum medium. The equations which you will be developing for this continuum fluid are in this fluid mechanics. Those equations will not be applicable to the quantum mechanics or discrete mechanics. There, uh, the probability theories and equation developed by that, they will be actually applicable. So, what we do with this basic equations, like I said, continuity equation we are going to see, then Bernoulli's equation we are going to derive. Okay, so what is the use of these equations? Already, as mentioned earlier, these equations they exactly replicate or represent the actual fluid flow phenomena. Okay, so if those phenomena they are expressed in terms of equations, normally we call them as model equations. Okay, we call them models. There are several types of them. So, but they are the equations. Okay, and if you solve those equations by or with the help of boundary conditions, initial conditions. uh, so you can solve those equations and you can interpret the results that what will be the value of variable like velocity, pressure, density, temperature, or energy at any point along the length of pipe or at any space point in equipment or at any point in reactor. Okay, so those equations will give you complete insight about how those flows behave, how heat transfer happens, how mass transfer happens, or for that matter, how chemical reactions occur inside chemical reactors. So these equations will give us or shed some light on that part. Okay, all the softwares, all the process simulation software or numerical softwares, they are based on this only. What we are doing here, the equations we are integrating inside those software modules, and it is solved with the help of computers. So many simple problems they can be solved by using analytical methods, linear equations, especially linear ODEs, even linear PDE if it is one dimensional, two dimensional, that can also be solved by analytical methods. But many times our flows are very very complex, and not only just one equation, but in all situations, almost in majority of situations, you'll find that the equations are multiple. Okay, for one simple distillation also, if there are 10 stages, you can find several equations to be solved there and to analyze the distillation column. So if you take the example of complete chemical plant, there will be hundreds or thousands of equations or even millions of equations also. Okay, so they need to be solved, and those equations are derived by applying laws of conservation of mass, momentum, and energy. Okay, so as already told, we'll begin with continuity equation, that is law of conservation of mass. Okay, mass cannot be created, cannot be destroyed. Okay, it is always actually conserved. So there are two approaches, that is differential analysis approach, fixed volume approach alternatively, and second method is integral analysis, that is control volume approach. In first approach, this volume of uh, fluid is fixed because we are fixing the system. We are taking this delta x, delta y, and delta z as the sides. Okay, and flow can approach from all three directions for rectangular coordinates. For other coordinates like spherical and cylindrical, the case will be different. Okay, so here the fixed volume is used, and we are uh, analyzing this flow. Flow is happening from all three directions, and if input flow is not equal to output flow, then some mass inside this volume will be built up with the passage of time. Okay, so what will change here? The density might change, velocities in x, y, and z direction, they might change because it is undergoing changes inside this volume. A coordinate system is fixed here, but in second case, this volume you can see the arbitrary region. Okay, means it is arbitrary volume or system that is used, and this volume is not fixed one. It is free to move. Okay, as it moves, it can change in density, it can change in volume, it can change in velocity. Okay, inside that arbitrary system. But one thing is sure in both the cases, that total mass is conserved. Okay, under all circumstances. All right, so we'll see the first approach, that is differential approach for deriving this continuity equation. So this equation which we are going to get is general continuity equation that will be applicable for steady state, unsteady state, that will be applicable for this compressible flows, incompressible flows. It can also be used for one-dimensional, two-dimensional, three-dimensional flows, or any combination of any two or three types of flows. Okay, so this is the diagram. Typically, this XYZ is the coordinate system, rectangular coordinate system, and we are fixing this volume, delta X, delta Y, delta Z, and fluid is entering at the edges at X, Y, and Z. Okay, and it will have approach velocity, capital U, that is velocity vector. Okay, and it will have rho as a density. But as it enters at X, Y, and Z, it undergoes changes at every point inside the volume. Okay, so those uh, velocities and density might change with respect to time. It might change with respect to coordinates also, means it is x, y, and z. So there are four independent variables. One is time, second is x direction, third is y direction, fourth is z direction. So definitely we can expect here that we are going to get the partial differential equation because density and velocity is changing at every point, also with respect to time also. Okay, so let us move forward. Okay, we have seen the diagram. All right, so for that system, material comes inside, undergoes changes, and it leaves the system. Okay, it enters at XYZ, it leaves at X plus delta X, Y plus delta Y, and Z plus delta Z. Okay, so we are making certain assumptions here to make our things simpler. So one is that there is no generation of mass in the volume element, means there is no chemical reaction happening. Only the fluid is flowing inside the system. It is undergoing physical changes and it is coming out of the system. Okay, so means there is no consumption, no generation. We are again disregarding the temperature changes. So we won't be going for energy balance, only mass balance of the fluid which is coming inside and leaving the system, that will be done. Now invoke the law of conservation of mass. Okay, uh, for that finite volume element, that is volume having delta x, delta y, and delta z. So rate of fluid which is coming in minus rate of fluid which is going out plus rate of generation of that fluid minus rate of consumption of the fluid, that is equal to rate of accumulation of mass of that fluid. So it will be same for momentum, it will be same for energy also, means rate of momentum coming in minus rate of momentum going out minus a rate of consumption of momentum, or whatever rate of generation of momentum is there. Those four terms will be on left hand side, and right on side it will be the rate of accumulation of those quantities like momentum, or if it is energy it will be the rate of accumulation of energy. That will be equation number one. That is not more than the law of conservation of quantity. Okay, so here we are using mass, so it will be law of conservation of mass. So now we are invoking those assumptions. There is no chemical reaction, means there is no species which is being consumed. There is no species being formed, means generation and consumption. It is going to be totally zero. Okay, so this equation number one, after applying those assumptions, will reduce to three terms. That is rate of fluid which is coming inside at x, y, and z, and minus the rate of fluid which is going out from x plus delta x, y plus delta y, and z plus delta z. And that should be equal to rate of accumulation of mass of fluid. If rate of mass which is coming in is equal to rate of mass going out, this rate of accumulation of mass is going to be zero. But we have not made that restriction, since we wanted this continuity equation applicable to all situations. That's why we have not made that assumption that it is steady state. It is not a steady state here. Okay, so now what is the quantity of fluid which is coming at x, y, and z? Okay, so see the line, first line, which is in red. The rate of fluid which is entering at x is multiplication of density of that fluid, velocity in that direction. It is x directional flow now. Okay, so rho into u into area. So area is a perpendicular area to the flow. So since the volume is fixed, so area is fixed, it is not changing. That's why it is outside this bracket. But rho and u, they are undergoing changes as they move from x to up to x plus delta x. At every point, the change in density and velocity, that will be there inside the equation. Okay, so the same thing is there for the rate of mass which is going in x direction out of the system at x plus delta x, correct? So what is changed? It is density and velocity. So respective density and velocity multiplication at x plus delta x is shown inside a bracket here, and multiply by the area. Area is not changing, that's why the same area y and z was there, and same area we are keeping for outgoing flow also. So this was for x directional flow. uh, Coming over to the y directional flow, it is the same thing, correct? So with velocity will be replaced by v, and the area which is perpendicular to y direction will be the delta x and delta z. So likewise, you can write down this rate of fluid which is going out in y direction respectively. Only thing is that this rho into v is not the same at y and y plus delta y. So likewise, it will be different for z and z plus delta z. Okay, so these two terms, one is the incoming term and second is outgoing term. Since there are three coordinates, so three for each. Okay, three for incoming fluid stream and three for outgoing fluid stream. Now next, Third term is rate of accumulation of mass. So what is rate of accumulation of mass? Means whatever changes of mass, volume is fixed. Okay, so density, if it is changing, okay, so it will either build mass or deplete mass. Okay, so if output rate is not same as the input rate, so mass will be built inside the system. So that rate of mass is dm by dt. Mass is what? Mass is density into volume. So inside that system, the volume is delta x, delta y, delta z. So multiplication of rho into volume is the mass, and it is changing with respect to time. So d by dt of that. Okay, so putting all those three terms in equation number 2. Okay, so this is the outcome in the form of equation number 3. Okay, so if you see in equation number 3, on left hand side there are terms which is having constant areas like delta y, delta z, or delta x, delta z. On the right hand side also you can see the volume term delta x, delta y, delta z is there. Okay, so if you can divide this entire equation, equation number 3, with this fixed volume, that is delta x, delta y, delta z. Since it is constant, we can take it out of this bracket term and divide this left hand side. Okay, so after dividing this, you take the limit as delta x, delta y, and delta z tends to 0. In each term, it will be either delta x or delta y or delta z. Okay, so if you take limit as delta x tending to 0, it will give rise to a derivative term. Okay, so we'll see it in the next slide. Okay, so here, these are the terms which are divided by the fixed volume delta x, delta y, delta z. So if you focus on this, okay, it is rho into u at x plus delta x into area, which is constant, minus rho into u at x. We have taken the outgoing term first and subtracted it from the incoming term, because we know from mathematics that function at x plus delta x minus function at x divided by the distance or step size, that is the definition of derivative f dash x or df by dx. So similarly here, if you see delta y and delta z, it is going to be vanished from this term. Here it will be delta x, delta z vanishing here. So what it will be remaining there? Delta y will be remaining there. So likewise here, delta z remaining here. So limit delta x tending to 0, this quantity at x plus delta x minus this quantity at x divided by delta x and delta x tending to 0. So it is going to give you the derivative, means del by del x, del by del x of rho u. What is here? Rho u is here. So del by del x of rho u. So from this second term, what will be obtaining? Del by del y of rho v. And from third term, what will be getting? Del by del z of rho w is equal to minus del rho upon del t. Okay, so here d rho by dt we had written because we had not taken the derivatives in other independent or with respect to other independent variable. The moment there are more than one independent variable, this derivative term will become partial derivative term. Okay, that's why we have written this del by del x, del by del y, del by del z. Okay, is equal to del rho by del t. All right, so here rho is density, u is x directional velocity, here v is y directional velocity, and w is the z directional velocity. So this term on the right hand side is the unsteady state term, and it tells us that the rate of change, a negative sign probably, if you focus on that, it is the rate of decrease of mass per unit volume per unit time. Okay, so it is unsteady state term, rate of change of density with respect to time. So if you come to the left hand side terms, they are the convective terms. Convective or advective terms means there is transfer of this uh, mass by bulk motion. Bulk motion means u, v, w, they are velocities, and any quantity multiplied by velocity, that becomes flux. Okay, that flux is changing with respect to x, y, and z direction, and it is not by molecular diffusion but by the bulk movement, by convection or by advection. Okay, so this is equation number 5, and we can uh, name that this is equation of continuity, general equation of continuity, which is valid. Okay, so the same equation, we have taken all the terms on the left hand side, that is equal to 0. Okay, so it is the same equation, it is unchanged. All right, so this general equation of continuity is applicable to steady flows, unsteady flows, compressible flows, incompressible flows, one-dimensional flows, or multi-dimensional flows also. If you want it for only steady state flows for one dimension, it will be a del by del x of rho u is equal to 0. If you want unsteady state fluid flows, this continuity equation for one dimensional will become del rho upon del t plus del by del x of rho u is equal to 0. Okay, so it can be used for compressible flows also because density is changing. Density is inside bracket, density here is changing with respect to time. So if you want to find out changes at any point inside that fixed volume, okay, so this equation can be solved for compressible flows also, means we can find out how much density changed, okay, as it moves from left to right or from bottom to top or in z direction also. So we can have several combinations of these 6 flows. So depending on that, it will assume the form of continuity equation. Okay, so many times this question is asked in examination, derive general equation of continuity. Sometimes it is with restrictions like steady flows. Okay, but in your subject of fluid mechanics, this equation is actually simplified. Okay, so normally we are studying the fluid flow in just one dimension or one direction, that is usually horizontal direction. Okay, and then it is steady state and it is incompressible, means the complexities arising out by unsteady and compressible flows or multidimensional flows, it is probably not there. But we should know that this is one of the important equation in fluid dynamics, and without which we cannot solve anything, any kind of flow, either it is mass flows or heat transfer flows or even reacting flows. Okay, so this equation can further be narrowed down in this form. Okay, these 3 terms, especially that space dependent terms, they can be written in this uh, del operator form. So del rho by del t, first term will be as it is. Okay, these 3 terms actually they'll be written in this way, that is del dot rho u, where rho is density, density is everywhere in this. Okay, u is the velocity vector, and here there is definition of del operator. So del is del by del x of I plus del by del y of j and del by del z of k. So it is by mistakenly x is written there. So please take note of that. And u is the velocity vector. U is again the vector form which is given as ui plus vj plus wk, or it is transport of uv w. That is